So as many as you know, all of these post-game videos that I've done since spring training, I've done them myself. I've had people accuse me of speaking into a bottle of water, people that have kicked me out, and I'm hoping that bringing someone along for the ride brings a little more legitimacy to the operation. And as we've talked about a lot over the course of the last several days, Rafael Devers, the big acquisition to the San Francisco Giants from the Boston Red Sox, and who else better to bring in among San Francisco-based media, aside from the homie Marissa, she from the Boston area too, to talk about this trade, a monumental trade, than someone who has followed the arc of Rafael Devers' entire career, and that, of course, is Danny Emerman, formerly San Francisco Giants beat reporter for KNBR, now Golden State Warriors beat reporter for the San Francisco Standard. He's going from covering Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry to talking a little Rafael Devers. Danny, welcome to the show, video. I don't know what we're calling this, but you're the first guest, the first ever guest.
It's an honor and a privilege. I don't know about providing legitimacy, but I'm happy to talk ball. Big fan of yours, Justice. Let's do it.
So I think when we first scheduled the first collab, we were planning to do it last Sunday at Dodger Stadium. You were at Dodger Stadium filling in for John Shea, and I don't know what exactly happened. I think we ran into a scheduling conflict on Sunday. Was there something that happened?
I don't know. I think you must have stayed back. You were writing, doing your job as you're wont to do. You grind, man. You gotta appreciate it. I respect the hustle. I was out of there faster than you, I think, to be quite honest.
Yeah, given how that day unfolded with Rafael Devers' trade getting announced like 20 minutes before the game, everything that ensued as a result of it, it was one hectic day, and we were both came to the agreement, let's push it back. But, you know, we've talked a lot about the Rafael Devers trade from the perspective of how it impacts the Giants now. But again, you've watched this man over the course of his entire career, going from a 20-year-old hitting opposite field homers off a 103-mile-an-hour Aroldis Chapman fastball, him winning the World Series in 2018. Give us a little bit of perspective of what you've seen from Devers as his first couple years as a member of the Boston Red Sox, and what maybe Giants fans can expect now as a San Francisco Giant.
It's true, man. He's a big game player, and I think if the Giants are good enough to get him into these big games, then he's going to perform, and I think they're going to love him for that. He's a guy who owns Garrett Cole. He loves playing against good elite pitching. He's a guy who really embraced the New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox rivalry. I could really see him taking that on here on the West Coast version of that, Dodgers Giants. He's a guy at the plate who's just a monster. He takes daddy hacks. You see him swinging out of his shoes. He covers so much of the plate. You saw him go opposite field today, and he almost put one in the drink too, hooked it foul. But he's just gotten so much better in the past couple of years at plate discipline, at picking pitches to lay off of and ones to take a cut at. The growth, that I've seen in him is really amazing, because back in a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, he would chase a lot. There's a lot of chase in his game, and now he's kind of just wiped that out. And he was awesome back then, and now he's just more of a fully formed product.
You covered this before, moving on to the illustrious Stephen Curry-led Golden State Warriors. You covered this Giants team for a couple of years. Was there any bat? You can potentially include Buster Posey in that mix, but was there any bat over the course of your tenure covering this team that could even hold a candle to what Devers brings to the plate as far as that middle-of-the-order Silver Slugger-esque bat?
I know people probably won't like to hear it, but 2021 Brandon Belt, from the left side, was pretty legit. I think he had a 850, 900 OPS. He was on pace to get to 30 home runs. He was really elite that season, but no one I've seen since 2021 when I moved out here has the type of track record over a long period of time that Devers has. And it's the type of track record that should, age pretty well over the course of this deal. I know a lot of people have talked about the contract, calling it underwater. I don't know about all that. I think this guy's going to be a top 5 DH in this sport for the next 5-6 years. And if you're paying that $28 million, that's well worth it. So in terms of a comparison to the Giants, I wouldn't really say anyone in particular over a long period of time. But yeah, people probably underrate that Belt season a little bit.
I'm going to channel my inner Bill Simmons really quick, because we got to get into the Boston piece of this. Obviously, again, as I mentioned, you were from the Boston area. You've watched this team for a while. And, of course, the Giants are getting one of the best hitters. A lot of guys have called him a top 10, top 15 hitter at the worst. On the flip side of things, they sent over Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, James Tibbs III, as well as the right-handed minor league prospect whose name I keep forgetting. He's been shoving. I just want that to be known. He has been shoving. Jose Bayo. I don't know why I keep forgetting his same name as the Red Sox. Last name as the Red Sox started today. But let's get into the Red Sox piece of this. What has been, in talking maybe with some friends, maybe with some family, and just knowing how that media sphere operates, what has been the reception back home? Because I can't imagine folks have been entirely happy, including some of your loved ones.
No, I mean, there's so much scar tissue. There's so much, almost PTSD of the past, 5 years of the way this Boston Red Sox organization has operated since 2018, really. To see Mookie Betts leave, trading him because you're penny pinching and you're afraid you're not going to be able to pay him. Not extending Xander Bogaerts, the heart and soul leader of the team, and then letting him walk. And now Devers. There's just no reason why any Red Sox fan should feel like anyone they see on the team is going to be there for their entire career. Mookie Betts should have been a guy who played with Big Papi, and he played with Roman Anthony. He was the guy who was supposed to bridge generations. He was an amazing player, still is. He's winning championships every year with the Dodgers, MVP caliber player. Unreal in the community, unreal person. Everything any fan base would ever want in a superstar, and the Red Sox said no thanks. So over and over again now, Devers was on his way to being, a statue guy at Fenway Park. So over and over again now in Boston, it's just like Red Sox fans getting kicked in the nuts over and over again. And yeah, I mean, it's not the way a big league market should operate. And kudos to the Giants for taking advantage of their position, their cheapness, their frugality, their drama, the way that Craig Breslow botched this entire situation from the jump in spring training with Devers. I don't know. How would you imagine the Red Sox fans feel right now?
Not entirely happy. I don't know as many Red Sox fans as you know, but one of my old Daily Cal buddies, shout out to my guy, Andrew Wild, I texted him after this trade, and I was just like, how are you feeling? And his reaction was just, I'm out on this team. And I would imagine it's a similar sentiment for a lot of fans. And we were kind of talking about their team configuration and why it's so fascinating. It's because you have guys like Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, Christian Campbell. They just traded for Garrett Crochet, but on the flip side of it, you just sent out Devers. Jarren Duran's on the trade block. It's kind of like, what exactly in this team? It almost feels like, depending on what they do with Duran, especially, that they might be headed towards some type of purgatory. And as you know, especially covering the NBA with teams that kind of get stuck in that 500 range, that's the worst place that you could possibly be in professional sports.
Yeah, and at least they have young things to look forward to. But again, how can you get attached to a guy like Marcelo Mayer or Roman Anthony when, this team is just as ready to ship them out as they are to have them play 15 years in a Red Sox uniform? And that's a really tough pill to swallow. The timing of this trade from the Boston Red Sox perspective, I think has flown a little bit under the radar over here too. It has been 5 years of turmoil and frustration and pent-up anger with this fan base. And they traded him after winning 6 of 7 games, after sweeping the Yankees at home. Fenway was rocking.
He homered.
Devers hit a home run. Everybody's having a great time. The fans were finally ready to get back in. And again, they just get the rug pulled out from under them. And listen, there's a lot of things about, being a fan. It's intrinsic, it's subjective, it's hard to really, capture. But that feeling to just get your heart ripped out of you after feeling like you're back, it's so over, we're so back, that whole thing. The Red Sox fans have had more last place finishes than playoff appearances since 18. That's not where you want to be. And it seems like there's going to be a lot more of that going forward, and there's not much, light at the end of the tunnel.
If you stripped away, in you talking about the Red Sox just now, if you just stripped away the name, the city, it sounds a little similar to something that Oakland A's fans went through. I know that it's no longer the Oakland A's, and that's a whole nother debacle, but the fact that, a big market team like the Red Sox can find some type of comparison. Let's just imagine like those A's years where they were shipping out their guys. Find any type of comparison to a team like the A's feels not ideal.
No, you're
that's
right,
putting it
and
lightly.
That's embarrassing. They should never be in that position at all. Nor should the A's, but that's probably, a story for another day.
It's another rabbit hole to venture down. Last question I'll leave you with, Danny, and again, thank you for being the first guest of, again, show, video, podcast, whatever we're calling it. We're about a month away from the Giants and the Dodgers meeting here at Oracle Park for the first season. Rafael Devers is going to be wearing a Giants uniform. Mookie Betts is going to be wearing a Dodgers uniform. We've already kind of seen this play out a little bit with Xander Bogaerts on the San Diego Padres. I don't know if you're going to be here or not, but for you, again, as someone that's watched those guys come into their own again, Mookie Betts win an MVP, Rafael Devers win the Silver Sluggers, take Garrett Cole 500 yards to Foxborough. I don't even know if it's the right direction, but hitting those tanks. How odd is that going to be for you, seeing them part of a rivalry as rivals against one another?
Man, it's weird in a lot of respects, but it's also cool. Like, in our positions, the fandom gets stripped out of you. I am not a Boston Red Sox fan, even though I grew up loving them. I'm not a Celtics fan. I'm not a Patriots fan, even though that was like a big part of my childhood. But it's cool from my perspective. I've gotten to meet Mookie, and I met Devers today. Like, that's kind of neat. My dog at home in Boston with my parents is named Mookie. I didn't tell Mookie that when I met him. I thought that might weird him out, but yeah, I mean, it's cool to be around these guys, these people. They, from afar, on TV, they might seem like larger than life, but they're not. They're just guys, and it's cool to be around them and talk to them a little bit when you get the chance to. I think that's a huge privilege of our job, and, I don't take that for granted.
You said that they're guys, but to borrow some of Buster Posey's vernacular from the other day when describing Rafael Devers, a baseball term that baseball heads like to use as dude. And Danny Emerman, you are a dude. Thank you for being on the show. The first guest on this show. Tell the people before you get out of here where they can find your work.
All right, San Francisco Standard. We're building something special over there, sfstandard.com. Myself, Tim Kawakami, John Shea on Giants, David Lombardi on the 49ers. Get all the coverage you need about sports, Bay Area, politics, business, food. San Francisco Hyperlocal, one-stop shop. Subscribe today. Thank you.
You heard the man. Danny, appreciate you.
All right.
Hear that?
Thank you.
It's clean.